Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gaming News, where we discuss everything in video gaming and sometimes even tabletop gaming and other awesome gaming content as well, depending on how the week goes. And while we only have a couple of topics, I will elaborate on one or two of them a little bit longer just because I feel like they need to be discussed in a little bit more detail. And this may end up being a bit of a longer video, so I'll be sure to include timestamps for the individual topics so that you can take a look at all of the relevant information and digest this at your leisure. So with that said, first up, we are going to talk about YouTube. Now, it's not YouTube specifically, it's more content creators on the platform, and you may know the specific thing that I am referring to here, which is, of course, the idea that TimtheTatman is moving to YouTube. So he did release a video about the fact that he has signed an exclusive deal with YouTube to go along with Dr. Disrespect, to go along with Dr. Lupo, who was also a very prolific streamer on Twitch TV. And all of these creators made up a significant total of profit for the Twitch platform. And now that Dr. Lupo and TimtheTatman have made the move recently to YouTube, just sort of talks about the idea that Twitch is struggling as a platform in terms of what the creators want and what they expect. And a lot of content creators are more intelligent about their sponsorship deals, streams of revenue that they can put together, branding, marketing. These are things that people have been learning and getting much better at as time continues. And when you become one of the larger streamers or largest streamers on Twitch, it stands to reason that competitors like YouTube are going to look at those people because they know how much they can make for the respective platform. Now, it's funny to consider the statistics. I don't know the official numbers, although I have seen different things sort of floating around social media stating that the numbers for the creators on Twitch is obviously extremely high, but it's kind of, in a sense, plateaued. And YouTube is an extremely large platform. They've been in the game for a very long time as well, and they are trying to make themselves better in terms of the grand scheme of digital platform and content creation. They are definitely knocking it out of the park, because while these people like TimtheTatman and Dr. Lupo have made tons of money on Twitch, because they now have such a huge brand, moving to YouTube will actually give them more of a chance to grow even further than what they were able to achieve on Twitch. And so financially, business-wise, this kind of move makes a lot of sense to me. So, of course, TimtheTatman tweeted out that the amount of love today is unreal. Thank you so much for all the congrats and support. I'm sure there are a lot of questions as to what we're going to look like on YouTube Gaming, and I'll do my best to answer all of those questions, so take a look at this video. So I will include the link to the YouTube about this particular thing, and I think that this makes a lot of sense that it's not surprising that due to a lot of previous missteps that Twitch has made or some of the restrictions that Twitch has, that big name people are going to look at other ways to make money and to become a bigger brand and to be extremely successful and chase their dreams. And the best part about that is they have the room to grow and they have the clout to be able to do this now, where previously they didn't. And so while Twitch has certainly made some of these names extremely well known in the industry, it definitely has catapulted themselves into a greater state where they can work on YouTube, and to get a multi-million-dollar deal is phenomenal and crazy, and that never, used to be popular or achievable. Essentially, we have evolved massively that content creators now have the ability to make a lot of money and to have a lot of clout with people and with brands and with businesses, and the gaming community has certainly elevated itself in a lot of ways. So it's no wonder that YouTube would be taking a look at big name people like this. And a lot of us have been asking the question, what will become of Lyric? Because Lyric is a huge streamer on Twitch as well. And he is also one of the extremely few successful people on the platform that does not stream with a webcam and has still been able to reach the level of success that he has. And the fact that we haven't heard anything yet about Lyric moving to another platform, I feel like it might be just a matter of time before he decides to put his eggs in the YouTube basket or another platform, because that's also very possible. There are a couple of other competitors coming to go up against things like Twitch that will have better protections for creators, and I'm very curious to see what will happen with those platforms as well, and that will be a topic for another day. But I wanted to cover this because I thought it was interesting, and I think that it's great for TimtheTatman and for Dr. Lupo, and I can't wait to see what they do and how much more successful they become, and what kinds of things they decide to do, because as we know, gamers can be extremely charitable people and will donate to a lot of great causes. I can't wait to see what these heavy hitters do now that they have YouTube to elevate them even further. Next up, we have information about Streamlabs. Now, for those who are perhaps uninformed, Twitch has been inundated with hate rating, and essentially people who are creators that are marginalized in some way or part of the LGBTQIA plus group have been targeted by bots, and a lot of these bots have been using all forms of Cyrillic and ASCII characters to spam hate messages in the channel for hours on end. There's been a lot of interesting information about how creators are responsible for their community and that they can be banned and whatnot. So there's some kind of interesting information floating around that may or may not be accurate, and I advise you to go actually look up the rules to make sure that you're protected as well, because the thing is, even if you yourself are not a marginalized creator, does not mean you should not act upon the information that you have, and that you shouldn't still safeguard yourself, because who knows, these people may come after you because of your association with other people who may be in the space. And so you may end up becoming a target, not because of anything that you've done, but because of the people that you know. So Streamlabs wanted to try and help with the situation, because Twitch, while it does have some moderation tools, and while it does have certain modes that you can use to help protect yourself from these kinds of hate raids, they are certainly not going to get rid of the botting and the maliciousness that exists on Twitch, but they at least help to a degree. The problem is that a lot of these bots are becoming smarter at finding ways to get around some of these safeguards, and it is extremely difficult to find a good solution that will get rid of the problem for good, because some people are just assholes. So Streamlabs decided to implement a new mode, and so we're going to take a look at that right now. So here we go. This is on the official Streamlabs site, where they are introducing safe mode. So safety is at the forefront of every streamer's mind right now. Streamlabs believes in fostering a supportive environment to ensure a positive experience for our streamers and their viewers. You and your community should feel safe to express yourself without fear of being harassed. With tools like CloudBot, we've been building services that help protect your stream and keep your chat and your community safe. We can never do enough here, which is why we are introducing Safe Mode. Safe Mode is a new feature that helps prevent malicious users from sending harassment, hateful messages, and chat spam. With Safe Mode integrated into your live stream, you can guard yourself against harmful content polluting your feed and your live stream. Activating Safe Mode will clear all recent events, clear currently queued follower, hosts, or raid alerts, disable follower alerts. And with CloudBot enabled, Safe Mode will put chat in emote-only mode, put chat in follower-only mode, put chat in sub-only mode, disable chat alerts for followers, and clear chat history. With this new feature, we hope to give you even more control over your channel and the ability to maintain a safe, positive environment for you and your viewers. So then they go through the process of explaining how you enable safe mode and what kinds of things you want to have checked off. So if you want it to go in follower only mode, then you can set the amount of time that people have to be following your channel before they would be able to speak. You can also do stuff like put your stream into R9K mode as well, which is a lesser known feature that moderators have been using to ensure that people are sending unique messages. So if someone is just trying to do a copy pasta of a hateful statement, they will not be able to put it in chat because it's not unique. Now, the problem with it is that all you have to do is change one character or add a space or do something very small to modify the statement in order for it to still be posted in chat. So it's also not a way that's going to prevent the hate raiding and chat spamming from happening, but it is another line of defense that you can also enable on top of your follower only mode, your emote only mode, or whatever it happens to be. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at moderation of your stream. But what I'd like to just sort of add on is that I feel like this is a good initiative. The fact that the application that I use to record all of these videos, by the way, Streamlabs, does have a lot of customization and versatility It can sometimes take up a lot of space and can sometimes drop frames at random points in time that have nothing to do with your internet service provider or anything like that. But at the very least, the fact that they are trying to step up and help creators have a quick way to do this so that the moderators don't have to start flying through commands and going through all of the boxes to have one button to be able to do all of this. Or even some people might consider porting a macro of some kind on their Stream Deck, or if you have macro keys on your computer, you would in theory be able to set something up to do these things for you so that you have sort of a panic button when it comes to hate raids. But again, even with all of these tools, it's not going to prevent these things from happening, and you need to know that this is not a solution. This is a quick fix until there is something that is done about it, and that's kind of why a lot of people chose September 1st to have a day off Twitch, because they wanted Twitch to do better, especially because of the hate raids, because of the mistreatment of marginalized creators on the platform. And Twitch does need to step up for its creators and protect them, because right now creators are getting hit from multiple ends, between DMCA and copyright issues to constant harassment and bullying to hate raids and constant awful messaging being thrown around the platform with what feels like zero recourse to speak of. So talking about creators going to YouTube, I feel like it's a good move for them, because Twitch does have to work on a lot of things, and they need to stop being reactive and start being a little more proactive with what they're doing on the site to protect their creators. Next up, I'm actually going to talk about CD Projekt Red. There are two minor topics to sort of go with this that I came across. As many of you may be aware, I actually really enjoy playing Cyberpunk 2077, and I've been continuing to play through it when I have time. And it is just a fun experience. I really love a lot of the side quests. I really love some of the characters. It's just an interesting and fun game for me, and it's set in a world that I'm extremely familiar with, because I did play the tabletop game once upon a time. And thus, whenever things are being fixed and worked on in the Cyberpunk universe, I'm excited, because I want the game to do well. I know that on launch it was a dumpster fire, and every review you read will dictate that. And even my own review of the game that I voluntarily did talks about some of the issues, what issues I actually encountered versus the issues that I didn't encounter but had read about. And I feel like sometimes the game receives more flack than it really deserves. Now, there are still issues with the game. There are constantly bugs being fixed every single time the game is patched, and it has definitely improved since the launch of the game. But now people are wondering about where it's going to go from here, and if it's ever going to be in a state that would be playable for them. So, with that, I have a little bit of news. I came across this article, which is CD Projekt confirms Cyberpunk 2077 expansion and says the majority of their employees are working on it. So, Cyberpunk 2077 released back in December of 2020, and though it doesn't have an expansion at this moment, developer CD Projekt has confirmed the majority of their employees are now working on it, implying their long-term vision for the game. CD Projekt CEO Adam Kaczynski gave his statement regarding the future of the game, as listened to by Video Games Chronicle in the H1 2021 earnings call. His statement reads, "The next-gen version is an important step on our adventure in the cyberpunk universe. We strongly believe in the long-term potential of this IP. That's why we're currently working on the first expansion for the game, although I cannot say anything more about it at this point in time." CD Projekt comments on their other titles, as saying that 160 people are working on the first expansion. Elsewhere, 70 people are involved with their unannounced projects, though it seems Cyberpunk 2077 is currently one of their top priorities. Gee, I wonder why, especially considering they're probably still in the process of a massive lawsuit by their investors and by a lot of people in a class action who felt betrayed. They were sold something that was broken and buggy and unplayable, and that is what caused Cyberpunk 2077 to be removed from sale from the Sony store, so you could not play it on next gen or last gen platforms. So he did add another statement. "In accordance with our promise to gamers, we intend to keep improving Cyberpunk for as long as it takes. Meanwhile, we do not lose sight of the bigger picture. We want to develop other products based on our franchises and to keep growing our core business." And I'm not surprised by this, because obviously they have a massive stake in ensuring that this game does ultimately do well, and to show the investors not to walk away from the company and make sure that they can still be operating, because a lot of people had erected their pitchforks against the company because of Cyberpunk, and a lot of people forgot about their other IP, which is something we're just about to talk about. And that is The Witcher 3. So CD Projekt can't guarantee next-gen versions of Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 this year. Presumably, because of said aforementioned lawsuits, they are probably trying to make sure that they have everything in order to deal with that, while the people working with the company on an employee level at the game development level are working on fixing the bugs, fixing everything that they can with the game to elevate it to a level where people are going to be happy with the product in the end. And the fact that they are not going to be able to guarantee their IPs being on next-gen versions is not surprising. The Witcher 3 was also incredibly broken at launch, and so the fact that Cyberpunk has received more backlash is very surprising and interesting to me, just from a general standpoint. But essentially, in CD Projekt's latest earnings call, the company SVP of Business Development, Michael, suggested CD Projekt had learned from Cyberpunk 2077's disastrous launch last year, and that the company is being cautious with the game's Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 release. The target is to release the next-gen version of Cyberpunk 2077 late this year. At the same time, keeping in mind the lessons we have learned during the past year and taking into account that this project still remains in development, we can't say with full certainty that production schedule will not change. So keep in mind that while CD Projekt Red is working on things and is trying to still make sure that the best version of the game is released on next-gen platforms, that they are going to be very cautious and make sure that nothing bad happens there, because again, they're in the middle of an active lawsuit, and if they were to release a shitty version of the game on next gen consoles, they will be dead in the water essentially, and it's not going to be good. Now, the final thing I would like to talk about is D&D. And it is about Arcadum, and he is an extremely well-known dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons, and has been streaming for a long time. And I have a few things to say about this, but we're already running fairly long. So what I might do is release a separate video where I cover more about the D&D situation in Arcadum, because I want to talk about D&D in general and a lot of different things that I've sort of read over the last, couple of years, and just conceptions that people have about Dungeons and Dragons and that kind of thing. And as a person who has experience with playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, I want to put my hat in the bowl when it comes to this conversation. So I will release a second video covering all of that content. And if you have thoughts about that whole situation, articles, things you would like me to address in that, please send them to me and I will do up that video, and I will release it as like a bonus video for you later on this week, so that I can really go a little more in depth just about that topic, because I feel like a lot of information needs to be imparted to many of you, especially those of you that are big into tabletop gaming and D&D. With all of that said, thank you very much for your time. I know that it took a little bit longer today just because I had a couple of things I wanted to talk about, and realizing that the other topic I'm going to make into its own separate video is kind of important. That way I'm still mindful of your time. And with that, thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. Don't forget to follow me on social media platforms. I can be found on Twitter, on Twitch. I do have my Let's Try series on YouTube. I have Instagram, all of the different places. And you guys have been fantastic. I appreciate all of your support. And with that, you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.